please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance led by the Honorable Council Member Scott Morgan. Good evening, everyone. We're going to jump right into our special recognitions or tributes, is what we call it. And this evening is Do It for Denny. We're going to have a commendation, and Sammy McKay's here if you'd like to come up to the podium. I met Sammy about probably a couple years ago and learned everything about her organization and what she was trying to do. And it's incredible work. It's selfless work, and you are so good at it. Honestly, just from your presence on Facebook and online and the news and getting out there and spreading your mission. One thing Livonia is good about is service groups and nonprofits, and we have our incredible share. I would rival Livonia against anyone in the country. And what you do is so innovative, and if this is something we could do to give you a commendation to spread the word even further, we're going to do that. But right now, I'll hand it over to you if you just want to give a quick history of your organization and where you intend to take it.
Of course, yeah. Thank you so much. I really appreciate opportunities like this to talk to people about what I do. I've been doing this in Livonia for 6 years now, and I honestly don't think it would be as successful anywhere else. All of the recognition that I've gotten, the growth we've seen in our projects, the amount of people we've been able to help is not thanks only to me, it's thanks to so many more people. It's thanks to the individuals who believed in my projects from the very beginning. It's the community who stepped up looking for ways to do good in the middle of a pandemic. It's to the businesses who believed in me when I was just a mom on a mission. And it's to the strangers who have become some of my closest friends through these projects. Together, we are truly making a difference. I'm not a businesswoman by trade. I'm a stay-at-home mom by trade, but the support and encouragement from this community has motivated me to start a nonprofit and apply for our 501c3 status. I am so proud to announce that as of February 21st, we are incorporated with the state of Michigan, and we expect to have our 501c3 status by the end of spring or early summer. We are so excited for the opportunities that this will open up for us. We are excited to work closer with Livonia businesses, groups, churches, individuals. And as a way to thank the community that has given so much to us, we're really looking to focus our efforts this year to help Livonia families. In August, we are looking to put Take What You Need stations in every Livonia school with grades 5th and up. These stations will provide essentials such as deodorant, shampoo, conditioner, toothbrushes, feminine products for our students who may not have access to that at home. And with our toy shop this year, we are serving 500 children, and we're looking to work closely with several Livonia schools to extend those invitations to families who need it the most in our community. So again, opportunities to share what we do is really how we've been able to grow so much. And we are so excited to do more in the future and hopefully work with all of you. So again, thank you so much for having me.
Sammy, thank you guys. Thank you so much. Honestly, and like I said, in the last couple of years of what you've done, you seem like a natural at doing good for the community, spreading awareness, and your marketing is flawless. I mean, you've got cool outfits, and I remember I've got my T-shirt still. So, no, we are so happy to at least let the community know what good is going out there. It's always a fun thing to do. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to our Vice President to go over the formal commendation, then we'll get a picture.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President. So Livonia City Council welcomes you tonight, and we're glad to have you here. This certificate is going to be proudly presented to Do It for Denny. On behalf of the City of Livonia, Michigan, we are pleased to recognize the incredible kindness and support that your organization has given to the families in our community. We are grateful for your dedication and consider you a true community leader. We wish you nothing but continued success in the future. On behalf of the council, congratulations.
Thank you, guys. Yeah.
How about you stand in front, we'll stand behind you over here.
Yeah.
What do you need?
We're just with some of our project overviews if anyone wanted more information.
You don't mind, Steve?
Why didn't she stand there, we get behind them. Oh, we are? Oh, okay. Well, hey, miss, will you leave your name and number with Sarah right there, because.
Our project overviews have all of our information on it.
The reason, let's go around, okay, the reason I ask is sometimes we get extra stuff we hand out to people on the street, okay? All right, Laura. Yeah, I'm coming. No, just sit right
How do you guys do this?
They are.
I feel like him.
That doesn't happen.
I'm right here. Next time. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, guys. That's the least we can do. I appreciate you.
All right, we got 17 more.
17 more.
We're gonna run out of, we blew the budget on frames and paper.
Cool, cool, very cool.
All right.
Here's the, or you can probably pass that to Sarah.
All right, so officially welcome to the 1987th regular meeting of the Livonia City Council. This is a voting meeting. Minutes of this meeting will be approved at the next regular meeting scheduled to be held on March 11th, 2024. Madam Clerk, will you please take the roll?
Councilmember Morgan,
Here.
Councilmember Choi,
Here.
Councilmember Jolly,
Present?
Vice President Tashnik,
Here.
Councilmember Donovic,
Here.
Councilmember Budzinski. Here. President McCullough.
Here. And we have all 7 members of council present. I will now entertain a motion for the minutes from the regular meeting of the City Council held on February 12th, 2024. Council, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Budzinski,
I'll second.
second from Jolly. Any comments from the audience on the minutes? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, will you please take the vote?
Councilmember Morgan,
Aye.
Councilmember Choi,
Aye.
Councilmember Jolly,
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik,
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic,
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski,
Aye.
President McCullough.
Aye. And the minutes are approved. We will now move on to audience communication. The council has set aside 30 minutes for audience communication for items not on the agenda. Do we have any audience communication? If you would, make your way to the podium. Name and address.
Steve King, 33950 Coventry. Good evening. Just a couple things real quick. I think, Lori, wasn't that your first election as clerk?
That was my first election as city clerk.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a long night.
It was a very long night.
I don't know if you
Into
give a
today.
report. I don't mean to steal your thunder.
No.
So, yeah. but
You lead.
congratulations. Yeah, okay. Couple of things real quick. The library has removed all of the plastic, and it is fantastic. It's fantastic. You walk in, it is so welcoming. I don't know whose idea it was. Great job. I wish we could do that here at City Hall, where everything's locked down behind glass. Secondly, who's ever filling in the potholes? I don't know. Great job. On 6 Mile, I helped a motorist. He got 2 flat tires from one pothole. So who's ever doing that?
Laura's been working.
Yeah, great job. And finally, the mayor met with DTE, and DTE got busy. And I know they're cutting all the trees down. I'm sure I don't know if they've been in your neighborhood yet, but they're in Coventry Gardens. Going to miss all of my trees that they took out. But the question is there a point person in the city that deals directly with Davy or DTE, because they damaged my property? So, they cracked a wall, and the guys gave me their phone number, but, there's gotta be a process where they'll repair the damage. And of course, they left all the wood that I told them don't leave. So I'm just wondering if there's a point person in the city that and I've heard from other residents that have had issues. Is there somewhere in the city I can go, and then you can communicate in an official manner? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. King. Sir, if you'd like. Name and address for the record. Anybody else that would like to speak during audience comment for items not on the agenda, please make your way to the podiums. Hello,
My name
sir.
is Toros Bardakian, 37652 Bloomfield Drive. So I apologize for the lack of eye contact as I read my prepared remarks. I've been a 27-year resident of the city of Livonia, so I grew up here. I'm today to ask the city council to consider creating an ordinance to allow short-term rentals. Introducing an ordinance to permit short-term rentals for not less than 48 hours in single-family homes presents a remarkable opportunity for Livonia to strike a balance between economic growth and community integrity. By embracing this initiative, we are empowering Livonia residents to leverage their properties as a means of supplemental income, therefore fostering entrepreneurship and financial stability within our community. Moreover, by implementing sensible regulations that ensure responsible hosting practices, we can mitigate any potential concerns regarding noise, parking, and property upkeep. This will not only preserve the quality of life for residents, but also enhance the appeal of Livonia as a desirable destination for travelers seeking authentic and immersive experiences. Furthermore, embracing short-term rentals aligns with broader trends in the sharing economy, reflecting Livonia's forward-thinking approach to economic development. By tapping into the burgeoning tourism market, we can stimulate local businesses, from restaurants and shops to cultural attractions, thus bolstering our economy and creating new opportunities for job growth. Additionally, short-term rentals offer a unique avenue for community engagement, allowing residents to showcase Livonia's hospitality and charm to visitors from near and far. This exchange of ideas, cultures, and experiences enriches our social fabric and fosters a sense of inclusivity and interconnectedness among residents and guests alike. By enacting an ordinance to permit short-term rentals for not less than 48 hours in single-family homes, Livonia stands to reap significant benefits, both economically and socially. Let us seize this opportunity to embrace innovation, promote entrepreneurship, and cultivate a vibrant and welcoming community that we can all be proud of. Additionally, as we deliberate on the proposals to permit short-term rentals, I would like to respectfully inquire about the specific ordinance that currently deems such rentals as illegal. Bed and breakfast is not the same as short-term rental. They serve different markets, operate under different business models, and are subject to different regulatory frameworks, highlighting the need to distinguish between the two when crafting relevant policies and ordinances. I believe it's imperative for us to understand the exact legal framework under which they operate. Clarifying this will not only inform our discussions,
Sir, that's time.
but also ensure that I have one sentence left.
I'll let you finish that and then just
Thank
be
you.
done, please.
Clarifying this will not only inform our discussion, but also ensure that any discussions made are rooted in a clear understanding of existing regulations. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Thank you.
First time up here.
You're
I'm
fine.
a little leery.
Name and
George-
address, if I could, for the record. Name and address for the
George
record.
Diamond, 835 Orange Lawn. Complaint. I've been there 68 years.
Okay.
Our codes have to change. You have to beg a neighbor to put a privacy fence up, and you can't put the slats through the fence. Unfortunately, on this side, I live by a young fellow. He don't give a you-know-what. The backyard's this high. My city code managers tried everything, and behind me, it looks, God forbid, I hate to say it, looks like the ghetto back there. Things thrown in the backyard up to the fence line. I can't have no one in my yard, I'm embarrassed. Play games or whatever with my family, barbecues. How could we get the codes to change where I could put a privacy fence up or slots through my fence so I don't see the grass looking so bad? I mean, it's embarrassing. I've been there since day one. I mean, how could we get the city to change some of the codes? We're way behind times. I've heard others say, oh, they could put a privacy fence up, you don't have problems, easy. My neighbor and I don't speak. And the people behind me, the house has been vacant, so I don't know what to do anymore.
No, thank you for coming. Now, normally how we do with the audience communication, council then, right at following this, has the ability to speak on items that were brought up during public comment. So if you have anything further, you still have some time on the clock, but I'm sure someone will be addressing that.
Okay, thank you. You know, this is the first time I said I have to come, but I don't need to queue over with another coronary.
Well, if
for
this is your first council meeting, thanks for coming.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So, did we direct that somewhere, or did we not, for this gentleman?
What I'm going to do is
For
wait.
inspection to?
I'm going to wait till we
Are
get the
you?
council
Okay,
comment.
thanks.
Yep. Ma'am?
Hi, I'll make it quick. Susie Ducombe, 37354 Bennett Street, and I actually came to support Doris and everyone that is doing Airbnb and is looking to do it as myself in the future, not right now, but I'm looking to do it, and I'd like to do it in the open with the approval of the city, because we, obviously, it's a traveling thing. It's nice to go, at least for me, my kids are out of state, and I would like to come and go, and that will help with, you know, and generate more income. And not only that, it's, I don't think anyone's gonna be more protective of your home than yourself, than myself. So we are, I support it 100%, and I ask you to consider that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further audience communication? Seeing none, we are going to move on to council communications. Council? Vice President?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I actually had some exciting news that I wanted to share with our residents. I've had quite a few residents contact me about closed captioning on our meetings, on our live meetings, and I'm happy to report that we now have it. So if you are watching on YouTube, you should see a streaming across the bottom and something that you can click on. That should be a one-time setting. We're still working with Spectrum on the cable edition, so that may be in an upcoming meeting, but we do have it, and we're thrilled to be able to have you read along with us starting tonight. So feel free to reach out and thank our Director of Communications, Kristen Hutchins, for helping me with this, and we got it done pretty quickly, so I appreciate that.
All right, thank you.
I actually-
And then, oh, she's got the floor still.
Oh, thank you.
Hang
sorry.
on, Councilwoman Toy.
Secondly, recently, council received some communication from our zoning board of appeals, and they're looking to address some concerns with software, hardware, meeting documentation, meeting notifications, departmental organization, et cetera. I served on the ZBA right up until the time I started serving here on council, and I can attest that definitely their issues need some attention, and I would like to make a motion to send this to committee of the whole for further discussion, and then perhaps inviting the ZBA members to attend.
Perfect. So we've got support from Mr. Donovic. Anything further?
That will do it, thank you.
Are you okay if we put the ZBA process improvement to committee of a whole?
Yes, please, thank you.
Anything further from council on this motion?
Oh, not on that motion. no.
Anything from the audience? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, will you please take the vote?
Councilmember Morgan?
Aye.
Councilmember Toy?
Aye.
Councilmember Jolly?
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik?
Aye.
Councilmember Donovan?
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski?
Aye.
President McCullough?
Aye, and the motion passes 7-0. So the ZBA process improvement has been moved to committee of a whole, and we'll get a meeting on the books soon. Anything else from council? Councilwoman Toy?
Thank you very much. As was stated earlier, I would like to congratulate Madam Clerk, our new clerk, and our new treasurer in the city now, and that was a pretty horrendous election. I heard you had a few glitches, but for the most part, it went smooth.
Yes.
As expected, right? And we appreciate all you're doing with your team down there. Thank you very much for everything.
Thank
Was there, did you want to comment further? I mean,
Yeah, I would just like to thank everyone who helped us. So we have a phenomenal team in our department. They work together well. They put up incredible hours during this election. It was a marathon. We started 12 days ago with the early voting. We had a whole day setting up equipment, 9 days of early voting. 10th day was moving equipment and absentees at the counter, and then election day. So it's been 12 days nonstop. I got home about 3:30 this morning. So, you know, you work 22, 23 hours straight. It's brutal. But we had a lot of help from a lot of other departments. So I'd like to thank our Housing Commission for hosting our early voting site. I'd like to thank DPW for all of their help and support, moving our equipment, getting things where we needed them to be. We also had the help of the police department, our department, and the support of the mayor's office, and then all of our chair people who did show up and helped us pull this off. It was a phenomenal feat. So thank you.
You know, there's so many nuances anymore with all the new laws, and I don't know if people realize that, but it's taken on a whole new face. And that's why most of you didn't run for that position. So anyhow, we all won last night, so that's great. Thank you.
Thank
Mr.
you.
President.
Mr. Donovan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I know there was a gentleman earlier that spoke about the issues with this fence. And I know fencing in the city of Livonia or any city is kind of complicated. You have to get certain documents filled out and certain ordinances have to be met. But if you want to reach out to the council office, our council program supervisor, Sarah, will be glad to help you out and put you in direction with maybe the planning department or someone in engineering or someone that will be able to help you kind of put you in the right direction to fill out the proper documentation and hopefully get a fence installed. Thank you, Mr. President.
Anything further from council, Ms. Bazinski?
Yes, I had the pleasure of being at Schoolcraft College for 2 different events last week, so I just wanted to recognize the Livonia Youth Commission for hosting the Livonia Youth Summit last week. It was phenomenal. We had students from all 4 high schools. It was really refreshing and encouraging, quite frankly. They're bright kids. They know what they can identify and verbalize what challenges they're dealing with and also offer solutions. So I really commend all of them for attending, our youth commission for putting this on. And I believe we'll be receiving a report out from the administration about what feedback the students had to offer. So I look forward to hearing and engaging more on that. I also attended the Black History Month Black Excellence in Arts at Schoolcraft College, hosted by their Ideas department. It was a great event, beautiful artistry from the college students on campus. Just a great opportunity to recognize Black History Month here in Livonia. So lots of great things happening at Schoolcraft. If you haven't been to the new Vista Tech Center, it is phenomenal. They have great restaurants and cafes, bakeries. So definitely stop by and check it out.
Thank you. Anything further from council? Just a couple quick remarks for me. Sir, and I know Councilmember Donovan did touch base on it. The conversation about ordinances. I think our ordinances are probably on the book. Some of them need to be updated for sure, no doubt there. I think it's a matter of making sure, especially if you're having, blight and other things like that, make sure to call the ordinance line because I'm sure, I think our ordinance says anything over 6 inches of grass considers noxious weeds. So again, call the council office, make sure to put everything in there, and we'll make sure we get you to the right people. But I appreciate you coming. Mr. King, we're going to find out exactly the process from administration to find out what's their plan for and process for DTE. I've heard from multiple residents as well, and I appreciate you bringing that forward. We'll get you an answer on it. And other than that, I think we're going to be good for council communication. We do have reports from the mayor and other city officials. We do have communication from the Department of Finance dated February 5th, 2024. This is more of a receive and file. With that, I'm going to move on to the consent agenda. Items 1 through 15 on the consent agenda will be voted on as one item. These items were previously studied at the study meeting that took place on January 29th and determined to be non-controversial. Council, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Budzinski, support from Jolly. Any comments from the audience? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, will you please take the vote on the consent agenda?
Councilmember Morgan?
Aye.
Councilmember Choi?
Aye.
Councilmember Jolly?
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik?
Aye.
Councilmember Donovan?
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski?
Aye.
President McCullough?
Aye, and the consent agenda passes 7-0. We are now going to move on to unfinished business, which is a lot of our committee of a whole meetings. Anybody that doesn't know what the committee of a whole is, that is our general subcommittee for council. So a lot of the big items that we want to discuss or anything that gets brought up gets kind of moved into this bucket, should we say. So we've been staying busy the last couple months, and now we're going to report out on some of these items. So the first meeting, the committee of the whole meeting, was held on February 5th, 2024, and we're going to start with item number A, which is the subject matter of a proposed amendment to the Livonia Code of Ordinances amending the ordinance so that the council administrator would report to and be under the direction of the city council rather than the city clerk. Just to give brief background on this before we go to council on that. This item, the council office has changed over the probably last decade, should we say. Last couple years ago, I think we made some process changes to the actual position. And right now, with the clerk having as much fun as she has with all these elections, we think it would be fair to have our program lead be under the report of council. So that's kind of a general. Council, do I have any direction on this item?
Mr. Chair.
Councilman Toy?
I'd like to move an approving so that we could get started on this. I'm hoping that's what you did in committee, right? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Do we have support?
Support.
So this motion would be to allow the position to then report to city council, pretty much nothing, oh no, I'm sorry, to the council president.
So it would direct the law department to create the ordinance.
Right.
Correct, that's a good point.
Good point.
And then that will
Yes.
come back before us. So we're just directing the language.
For a first
Right,
read.
the
and then,
language, yep.
Since it's an ordinance. So with that, to send this to law, we still need to have a vote on that. So Madam Clerk, would you please take the vote? And any audience communication regarding this? Seeing none, the vote is yours.
Councilmember Morgan.
Aye.
Councilmember Toy.
Aye.
Councilmember Jolly.
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik.
Aye.
Councilmember Donovan.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
President McCullough.
Aye, and the motion to refer this to law has passed 7-0. We'll look forward to a new ordinance for a first read. Moving on to item B, which is the subject matter of appointments to the Zoning Board of Appeals by council members. Brief history on this. So every council member has the ability to appoint a member to our Zoning Board of Appeals. There really wasn't a process in place on who was up next. It was almost like we would consider it a sporting event. So it would go to ties, then goals for, goals against. I always use those. And so we actually discussed this, and Mr. Jolly came up with a really simple and yet easy solution to have these appointments
Mr.
taken care
President?
of. Yes.
Point of order, I'm sorry to do this, but I think there's some confusion on the item we just passed. I think there's already proposed language for a first read. I think there's some confusion amongst members, so before we get too far.
Let me, no.
It says proposed amendment, so that would be a first read.
But I think still when we were there, it still would have to be referred to law, then come back as a first read with the actual ordinance. I didn't see the ordinance. It is there?
Attorney notes it is.
Let me take a quick brief on this. But did law, Mr. Goldstein, do we have, is it showing that the ordinance is available in the packet?
First read.
Here, it's proposed for a first read.
It's a first
All right.
That's why I tried out for a first read.
Well, then let me start that
That was my
process again.
mistake.
Oh, okay. Well, then, in this matter,
Mr. Chair, you want me to withdraw that
Please.
and offer the first read?
yeah,
Okay.
if that would be the proper
If
process.
that's all right with my colleagues? Okay.
And with
Sorry,
a-
I missed it.
No, and with the first read, we don't need a vote
Yeah,
anyways. so-
right, right.
Okay. Is that okay, Mr. Goldstein?
Yes.
Good.
Okay.
Is that good?
So we're good on a first read. Thank you, Mr. Donovan. All right, so back to item number B. I'm not going to go through the whole background on why we did that. But,
Point of order.
yeah. If I could, so basically, we kind of discussed different ways, and Mr. Jolly, please correct me if I'm wrong, but we're going to be going to tenure / then the election results. I think it was as simple as that was what was in the notes. Those were the tiebreakers.
I'll make a motion to adopt the council rule regarding ZBA as provided.
Support.
We have support. Council,
Mr.
any?
President?
Yes.
Can I speak? So this is actually not something I came up with. This is the longstanding rule that has been enacted and kind of followed through councils over the years. This just codifies it so that it is written and everybody's put on notice of the rule actually existing in hopes that it will be followed going forward.
Yes. Thank you. Anything else from council? Anything from the audience on our ZBA appointments? We almost got down to the point where we were going to have a coin toss, but that didn't happen. Madam Clerk, will you please take the vote?
Councilmember Morgan.
Aye.
Councilmember Toy.
Aye.
Councilmember Jolly.
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik.
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
President McCullough.
Aye. And the item passes 7-0. We're going to move on to item C, which is the subject matter of residential blight. Quick history on this is obviously blight in our city. We had a resident pop up here and different things like that. We've been trying to address this in committee of the whole meetings probably for the last, at least since I've been on council, trying to help our ordinance department with resources and things we can do to be more proactive than reactive. With this, we decided to leave that in committee as ordinance is still working on some processes and procedures. And we'll probably have another report out in the next probably 6 months, I would imagine. So that one is staying in committee. We'll move on to D, which is the subject matter of vacant and abandoned fee schedules. This was also determined to stay in committee. Again, right now, just to give you a brief background on it, with businesses and storefronts, if you ever see any vacant and abandoned buildings, right now they are obligated to pay about $500 a year total. There's no incentives or any other ways to raise the prices right now. We are in a position as a city that we can't make money, but we could use the money towards resources, whether it's extra employment or things to that department. So we're trying to find a different way to force these businesses to make sure that they're keeping the properties nice and upkept, and then hopefully filling the businesses with something that will prosper and grow. That item is going to stay in committee. And next, we're going to move on to item E, which is the subject matter of raising residential chickens within our city. That one was, we had a lot of people, this was a few weeks back, and we discussed all things chickens. If someone would like to talk on it, I might even hand it over to Ms. Budzinski so she can give a brief background, if you'd like to, just on what you did and why you did it.
Happy to do so. I brought up this issue because homesteading is an increasingly popular activity, and I think it's valuable that people cultivate skill sets that kind of have been lost over time. With all the uncertainties and changes in the world, I think it gives people comfort to be able to produce their own food, know where it's coming from. I think allowing individuals to do that in a way that has the support of their neighbors, has a site plan approved by planning, has ordinances and inspections, limits it strictly to 4 to 6 hens, no roosters, is something reasonable to explore. Talking to my colleagues, I think that there's still conversations that need to be had, more feedback from residents on this issue. So I'd be happy if we could leave it in committee.
Thank you, Ms. Budzinski. So yes, this item, unless we have other motions from council, will stay in committee. This is a very popular item in the city right now, and I know that we're going to work diligently to craft something or talk further about this to figure some stuff out. So I appreciate Councilwoman Budzinski for bringing this forward as a need to the community. Moving on to item F, which is the subject matter of restricting gas stations to 2 at any intersection. This item was brought to us through Councilmember Donovic. We had discussion, and I'm going to, if it's okay, hand it over to you.
Mr. President?
Yes.
I'd like to offer a motion for us to refer this matter to the City Planning Commission for the holding of a public hearing in accordance with provisions of the law and city ordinance.
Support.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Thank you. We had a good committee meeting on it, discussed kind of the intent. Right now in the city of Livonia, there are no intersections in our city that have more than 2 gas stations on the corner, with the exception of 2 intersections, which are unique: Merriman and Schoolcraft and Farmington and Schoolcraft. However, they are separated by a major freeway. With that being said, I think it is forward-thinking of us to kind of guide the future of what our community looks like. And there are multiple communities with the same sort of ordinance as this. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilmember Donovic. Definitely think that's a really good idea. We've got support. Council, do we have anything further? Seeing none, audience, anything on this item? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, will you please take the vote?
Councilmember Morgan.
Aye.
Councilmember Toy.
Aye.
Councilmember Jolly.
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik.
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski,
Aye.
President McCullough.
Aye. And the vote carries 7-0. We're now going to move on to item number 17, which is now the committee of the whole meeting that was held 2 days ago on February 26, 2024. The first item is the subject matter of the new Senior Citizen Center. It's a CR 268-23. Brief background on this, and if it's okay, I'm going to hand it back over to Mr. Donovic, because and Ms. Toy's also been on that committee. Obviously, you've heard the news. The Mayor's Office Administration Council has went around and knocked on every elected's door, should we say, from the state and federal, and got over close to $20 million worth of funding to fund this position and keep it out of the taxpayers. It's an incredible feat, and now we're actually taking the next steps to actually see this through. Councilmember Donovic and Councilwoman Toy have spent hours and hours and hours and meetings and meetings and meetings going over schematic design and making and basically shaping on what the residents will have as an amenity going forward. They did a great job. We seen Monday some renderings and some plans, and it was nothing short of extraordinary. So I'm going to hand it over to Councilmember Donovic to, take
Thank you,
some
Mr.
kudos.
President. I'd like to offer an approving resolution to approve a contract with PCI Daily in the amount of $1,065,600 to provide construction management services as outlined in PCI Daily's proposal.
Support.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Just want to say we had a good committee meeting on this. I've worked with all of council. Everyone's been working hard on this, and the administration and department heads and senior center staff and Mr. Ted Davis's assistant and everybody else has been working really diligently on this plan. I think it's going to be really exciting. So this is the stage now where we're hiring a construction manager, and this person is essentially like a general contractor. They're going to put together the budget, put together scheduling, put together the entire plan, and get this ball rolling so that hopefully this year we can break ground. Really impressive company. They are the company, in my opinion, that will take us to the finish line and make this one of the marquee municipal buildings in the state of Michigan. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Toy?
I just want to commend Councilman Dominic for doing an outstanding job. For such a young fellow, he has just exceeded everyone's expectations, including Ted Davis's. So it just is unbelievable, his talent. So, and I say that in all sincerity. But I got to tell you, this is an exciting time in Livonia. I mean, never before have we taken this old Lutheran school building that housed many a young person, probably around my age, if you can believe that, back in the early, that would be about 1950s, that building was there along with that Lutheran church. We ran a recycling center out of there. Good old Ed McNamara let us do that and caved in floorboards over there in that house and just did all kinds of fun things in those days. But it's just time. It's time to move along and give our seniors, and now that I am one, I can see it, that opportunity to have a new center with fresh paint, fresh ideas that we've gathered from a whole host of people in our community, including seniors and including others that use the rec centers. So the parking will be closer. That was one of the main ones, I think, Rob, wasn't it? And others. I hate walking myself, so, I mean, it is a great thing. I'm hoping we'll get golf carts too, but no, in all seriousness, it's a great opportunity for us, and hats off to the mayor and her administration for all the hard work they've put into this as well, and this council, and I hope that we'll all have a big ribbon cutting with, possibly champagne or Kool-Aid or something. Okay, so thank you, Mr. Chair, very much.
Thank you, Councilwoman
Right.
Toy.
Just
Councilwoman Budzinski?
jump in. In your opening remarks, you recognized our state and federal partners, which is fantastic, but I think we should also include Wayne County, who obviously were a huge
It's true.
partner and contributor to this as well. So don't want to leave them out. They got us across the finish line.
Anything else further from council?
Mr. President.
Mr.
I'll
Donovan?
just note that I know there's a lot of discussion about making the community more aware. I know that the administration and DPW and Parks and Rec and the mayor's office, everyone involved, they're going to be communicating in the future, putting together a really nice plan for the residents to see this new plan come to light. Thank you.
Thank you. So we do have a motion. Nothing further from council. Anything from the audience?
Steve King,
Mr. King.
33950 Coventry. Okay, a couple of things. I was at the committee of the whole meeting, and it reminded me of a conversation I had with the original architect of the rec center. So I was there one day, and I noticed this gentleman admiring the rec center, and I had a conversation with him, and he said, "I'm the architect. I designed this place. You want to go on a tour?" So he took me on a tour. We walked through the whole building, and I remarked, I said, "I think there's a lot of wasted space here." You know, I was just honest. There's a lot of volume, not a lot of square footage. And he said, "Well, this building is designed to accommodate an entire second floor." And I said, "Okay, wow, that's great." I expressed that exact thought to the administration many months ago. I was told, "Oh, you can't put a second floor on it." "No, we've considered that. We can't do that." And as at the committee of the whole meeting, it looks like we're putting a second floor in the rec center. Now, before you build anything, it's prudent. The first thing you do is acquire the property. I think people have to realize that this property has not been acquired for what we're attempting to do over there at the rec center. That's LPS property, and hopefully, you know, it's all going to go down. I'm a big fan of the senior center and all the things that they want to do, but I think, boy, we're just moving right along. And I thought that was very optimistic looking at the plans. 12 months, I just don't think that's doable, but I guess the guy's going to guarantee it, so I understand why you're going to go with that company. There was more discussion about deficit of funds, missing a couple $1 million. I don't know if you're aware, FEMA, for the first time, is paying local communities funding to do net zero energy projects, including solar, heat pumps, and efficient appliances. So there is money still out there for green initiatives, and I didn't hear any discussion of that at the committee of the whole. And I'm hoping that's the direction Livonia wants to go, and on all of its projects moving forward, because there is funding available. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. King.
I was hoping to name the second floor after Steve.
That's what
King,
I
too,
don't, we
darn.
were gonna release that
'Cause he's a
later.
belly guy, you know.
We were gonna release that later. I didn't wanna.
Oh, yeah,
Shock
okay,
right
we
now.
don't wanna, just joking with you, Steve.
With that, Madam Clerk, would you please take the roll? Vote.
Councilmember Morgan.
Aye.
Councilmember Toy.
Aye.
Councilmember Jolly.
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik.
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
President McCullough.
Aye. And the motion carries 7-0. We'll now move on to item B under item 17, which is the subject matter of a proposed budget adjustment to restore funding for the Governmental Affairs Director position. This is brought to us from the mayor's office. So this kind of goes back probably the last couple of years. We did have a governmental affairs position hired, probably even going back 4 years. There was some changes, and the council decided, I want to say probably about 6 months ago, to remove the funding and then basically have it voted on by the mayor's office to bring the funding back. And that's what we do have before us. We had an in-depth discussion on Monday, very good conversations, a few motions came out of that. With that, I'm going to open it up to council if there's any motions to be made. Council?
Mr. President,
Mr. Donovic?
I'd like to offer an approving for Resolution B, which would restore funding for the Governmental Affairs Director position with the amended wage schedule matching that of the Deputy Clerk and Deputy Treasurer with a starting salary of Step 1.
Do we have support? Council?
Support it.
We have support?
Mr. President?
Mr. Donovic?
No, there's been a lot of discussion about this position, a lot of really good discussion about this position. The position has history. And with that being said, I think the position does provide value to the community if it's done in the correct way. It is very common for large municipalities to have government affairs directors. It's very common for companies to have this sort of position. So I do think that if the administration hires the right person, which council has no oversight over who the administration hires, but I do think if the mayor hires the right person and this person does the job, this position will benefit the community and provide value to the community. And what I did is, by offering this motion, we're going to reduce the salary from what the administration had proposed originally to that of the deputy clerk and treasurer, which is a starting salary of $70,000. If the administration wants to in the future, they can come back to council and ask for a wage adjustment. At the same time, if council thinks that this position isn't benefiting the community, council could always come back and defund the position as well. I hope we don't have to get to that point. I hope this position provides the value that I believe it can provide, and looking forward to seeing what happens. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Donovic. Council, anything further?
Yeah, Mr.
Vice
Chair.
President?
After you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to start off by saying I'm really excited about the plans to revitalize the city, and starting off with the senior center. This is very exciting, the last couple nights. And I do understand and respect the administration's decision to try to refund this position. But that being said, we're also in a budget crunch, and we need to tighten up some line items, not add to them. I am not adverse to spending money when necessary. And we may need to go to the residents at some point and ask them to approve a millage or some additional expenses to our city budget. But to me, that's after we've carefully looked at spending. I'm struggling with right now is the value added to the residents by bringing this position or by bringing in this political appointment. And I do appreciate the spirit of compromise that Mr. Donovic has offered. I think it was, the quote, 80% of something is better than 100% of nothing. Ronald Reagan, I think, was the one that said that. But it still does not address my concerns as to why residents' tax dollars should pay for this. I see greater needs that need to be addressed with these dollars at this time.
Thank you. Councilman Morgan?
Yes, I'd like to mirror that a little bit. I've looked at this position before, and, this position appears to be purely political. And we have positions in this city that can cover this. This is one of the jobs of the mayor, to handle the government affairs and reach out to people and keep community relations in a good perspective. So after looking at this and paying someone what they want to do, put them in as a director, I am not going to be in favor for this. This is bad for the city. The city has many other places where these funds could go to help us out during these times, and this isn't one of them, to hire someone to basically do governmental affairs, which is not needed at this time. And not to mention, this is a second bite at the apple for the administration. They already had a government affairs person, and we ended up paying out in a situation where we got ourselves into. And I'm not going to go into that any further, but I am not going to be in favor of this position. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. Anything further from council?
No, Mr. Chair.
Councilwoman Toy.
I too struggled with this one, only because of some of the history and some of the things my colleagues have brought up and others that many of us have spoken about to the aside, on the phone, wherever. But I think in the spirit of cooperation for the city and with all the nuances we're facing, for one, small business in this community's faced the pandemic. I own one, and I'll tell you, we're doing great, don't get me wrong, but, there's nuances that we've all faced in these different climate. The climate is terrible out there right now, but in all seriousness, we're struggling with funny times right now. And being in government for as long as I've been in it, you gotta reach out a little bit more here and there, more than we'd like to do. I'm hoping whoever this person is, that they can hopefully make some of that money back tenfold for us. And I agree with many of my colleagues' comments, but I'm willing to try this. I'd love to have a probation period, but I'm not gonna do that, obviously. But, I struggled with it, but honestly, I think its time has come. And I appreciate Mr. Donovic and his compromise situation, that he's put us through and in, and everybody else that the young guy there has done. So Thank you, Mr. Chair, for your indulgence, and thank you, colleagues, for your indulgence as well.
Thank you, Councilman Toy. Councilman Jolly. I almost called you
said
Dolly.
Dolly?
Well, I was
Dolly.
listen, we started talking about indulging so many times,
So first off, let me say that, yeah, I appreciate Councilmember Donovic bringing a solution to the table over something that people were struggling with. I think it's also appropriate to note, Ms. Toy just said that she would potentially like to see a probationary period. Everything we do is probationary, because we can go back 5 minutes later and change it if we wanted to. In this case, it would be the budget cycle sometime next year. You know, the city functions a lot like a business in many ways. There's employees here who do specific jobs on a daily basis to make sure that the city functions in a particular way. The way that the mayor's outlined this particular position, it would be a position that would be focused on engagement with the community, and that means the local civic organizations, the art organizations, the neighborhood organizations, and cultivating good relationships with them and kind of getting them to interact with the city in a more engaging way that adds value to the community as a whole. She's also identified that this will go towards identifying and retaining good people to serve on commissions here in the city. I think that's extremely important. We oftentimes think about the Zoning Board of Appeals and the Planning Board, because they most frequently bring items to the table that we hear and that we kind of interact with as well. But a lot of these other organizations in the city, these commissions and boards, they are extremely important as well. And there should be somebody who's vetting these people and actively participating in selection and working with them to make sure that they're well-trained and that they're doing what they should be doing as well. And you know, we have put the nuts and bolts together for Vision 21, a new senior center, potentially a new downtown. We need to have somebody who is working on a daily basis to make sure that that goes through smoothly. Whether or not that means a millage sometime later down the road, to be honest with you, I don't even think this person could be actively working on a millage because they're gonna be a city employee. So that's not even something we have to worry about per se. But it is something that I think will overall add value. I think, you know, there's a lot of thoughts I have in regards to what this might be, what it was in the past, but I think the vision that the mayor has identified for this position is appropriate at this time, and I will be supporting it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jolly. Anything else from council? Seeing none, anything from the audience? Mr. King.
Sorry to bug you guys. Steve King, 33950 Coventry. I missed this when this came up in committee of the whole, but I thought, I mean, doesn't Dave Varga do a lot of this stuff that, I didn't see like a job description, you know, written out. And then, I don't know, is this something, is there language where it's renewed every year? Is that what it is? Or, I mean, I was just confused. Is it a lobbyist position? Is it, I don't know if you're able to respond. I don't know.
Yeah, no, we can. Ms. Brzezinski?
So the job description was included in our agenda packet
was,
from
okay,
yesterday's
yeah, okay, I
committee of the
just-
whole.
all right, thank you. Yeah.
Which, you know, is available to the public.
All right, I didn't- I'm
You know,
sorry.
and in terms of what you're saying about, are there other responsibility or other positions that
Right.
could handle some of these responsibilities? It's a question that I had myself. But the mayor's office, you know, has, or the mayor herself really, has made it clear that the individuals doing these other jobs can't handle the capacity to do the work cited in this, which is, at the end of the day, you know, she's identified this as a top priority. As my colleagues have mentioned, you asked about a time limit. There's no time limit in this position specifically, but we do have the ability to reevaluate it in the budget that we'll be looking at in a few months. So as we're looking at that, if we determine that there's better use for these funds to support other areas within the city, we can do that, and I think we'll have, you know, serious conversations about that. But given the mayor's commitment to this position, the opportunity for council to,
Thank you.
you know, evaluate it later, I will be supporting it.
I appreciate you clarifying that. Thank you very much. Just one last comment. I think you get more bang for the buck if you had a full-time grant writer. as opposed to a position like this, because a grant writer can bring millions of dollars into the city, and they can actually write a grant that pays for their salary. So that, I would consider something like that. Thank you.
Mr. King, I think that's probably the one thing that's listed in the job description that I did not list off.
Okay.
They will be pursuing
Okay,
grants and
thank
writing
you.
them, and
Thank you for that.
so that's my fault for not mentioning that.
Thank you, Mr. King. Any further audience communication regarding this matter? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, will you please take the vote on item B, right? Thanks.
Yes. Councilmember Morgan,
No.
Councilmember Toy,
Aye.
Councilmember Jolly,
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik,
No.
Councilmember Donovic,
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski,
Aye.
President McCullough.
Aye, and the motion carries 5-2. With that, we will now move on to the unfinished business, because I think that's listed twice, to item number 18, which is a request to waive the formal bidding process and improve the 2024 concrete road program by extending contract 23-C unit prices with Hard Rock Concrete. Council?
So moved.
Oh, whoa, hang on, I'm gonna have the photo finish on that one. Who
I will
wants it?
go to my,
Took a breath.
I know.
I'll be happy to offer in a support.
So Toy and then Jolly. Do we have discussion? Seeing none. Audience? Seeing none. Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Councilmember Morgan,
Aye.
Councilmember Toy,
Aye.
Councilmember Jolly,
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik,
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic,
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski,
Aye.
President McCullough.
Aye. And the motion carries 7-0. We'll move on to number 19. I just want to point out to the audience and anybody looking, these are some obviously big dollar items. We studied these at the last study meeting for anybody that was here. So we're not discounting anything, and we do love to hear ourselves talk at times, but we did discuss this in a lot of in-depth conversation the last study meeting. So item number 19 is a request to waive the formal bidding process and approve the 2024 concrete road maintenance / selective slab program by extending contract 23-J unit prices with Great Lakes Contracting Solutions in a total amount of $1,626,472.54. Council, do I have a motion?
Support.
Support from Morgan?
I'll offer a motion.
Motion. You got
I'll give him the motion. I'll take the support.
I did not say nothing.
Listen, I was going with it. Motion from Morgan, support from Jolly. Council, do we have any discussion on this? Seeing none, any audience communication? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, will you please take the vote?
Councilmember Morgan,
Aye.
Councilmember Toy,
Aye.
Councilmember Jolly, Vice President Tashnik,
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic,
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski,
Aye.
President McCullough.
Aye. And the motion carries 7-0. We'll move on to item number 20, which is a request to waive the formal bidding process and improve the 2024 sidewalk program by extending contract 23-G unit prices with Joe Rotundo Construction Corporation and request to authorize an appropriation expenditure to precision concrete cutting. Vice President.
I'll make a motion for this one.
Support.
So I have a motion from Vice President Tashnik, support from Councilwoman Toy. Any further discussion from council? Seeing none, anything from the audience? Seeing none. If you have it, come up to the podium and name and address for this item. It's like
Susie Ducombe, 37354 Bennett Street, Livonia, and yes, I vote yes for Joe Rotundo.
for a minute, it was like the price is right. You were like, let's go, we're going for it. So no, thank you for that. Any further audience communications? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please take the vote?
Councilmember Morgan,
Aye.
Councilmember Toy,
Aye.
Councilmember Jolly,
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik,
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic,
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski,
Aye.
President McCullough.
Aye, and the motion carries 7-0.
Mr. President, can you show 8 on that?
Yes, we probably could. Yes, a resounding 8 on that one. So that concludes our regular agenda. Is there any audience communication of items not on the agenda? Seeing none?
Mr. Chair,
Councilwoman
Before
Foy.
we adjourn, if I may, I forgot to make an announcement for our March the 7th event that Council Vice President Tashnik is helping to support, as well as Councilwoman Bazinski and all of you. We are hosting in our library at 7 o'clock on March the 7th, a very important topic about human trafficking. And any of you that are familiar with the topic, a lot of TV shows sensationalize different things, but come and hear a survivor that's experienced it for some 17 years on the streets. We'll have there, as well as an outstanding movie about the children that are being abducted and going through some of this horrific stuff with some of the solutions. Admission is if you will bring travel size hygiene products, whether it's, deodorant, powders, whatever that you would get in a hotel or wherever, that's very helpful. Or for people that are trying to regain their lives again, both men and women, toilet paper or paper towel, things that they cannot buy with their credit or with their food stamps. Thank you. So those, and if you can't donate, that's fine. Please come and learn. It's a true educational experience. It's appropriate for children, I think, over the age of about, 14, 15. I'm not real good at those ages, but there's a little bit of swearing in that film, but for the most part, it's very moving. I think you'll find it very enjoyable. And both men and women it's affecting. It's just not, it knows no boundaries. So we appreciate anything you'd like to do, and we're sponsoring that on the 7th of March. It's a Thursday, and it's at 7 o'clock in our Livonia Library auditorium. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilwoman Toy.
And I'll move to adjourn.
Do we have support? I
Oh,
think I can
there's
safely
people.
show, we did have audience communication that we did. If you want to hold up for this following meeting, we're going to start the study session in about 10 minutes. We have support from Jolly. I safely show 7, maybe an 8th from the audience. With that, I will close this meeting, and we'll be back in about 10 minutes, which will be 8:12. Thank you.